Welcome to Warhammer 40k lore in the Bible, where I pull from Warhammer 40k lore to help explain biblical lore. And today we're going to be going over the Hive Tyrant. But before we get into the video, take the wikis with a grain of salt, and I'm not a lore expert. And if you like what you see, please consider a like and subscription. Now, the way my content works is we do Warhammer 40k lore first, and we get into the biblical lore, and then we round right back to Warhammer 40k lore at the end. Alright, so let's get started. A Hive Tyrant, Tyrannicus Praefector, is the massive tyrannoid bioform that serves as the main battlefield commander of a tyrannid swarm. A synapse creature that stands above the rank and file tyrannids. They wield potent psychic powers, but are unaffected by the demons of the warp, a condition that would indicate a lack of soul at the individual level for most tyrannids. However, the species' gestalt consciousness brings into being a truly potent psychic presence in the immaterium called the Tyrannid Shadow in the Warp, which is produced by a collective Tyrannid hive mind. Hive Tyrants serve as the commanders of all the Tyrannid forces deployed on a given battlefield, for they share a special synaptic link to the hive mind. This link makes a Hive Tyrant one of the most important of the Tyrannid synapse creatures. Though individuals display a wide variety of physical characteristics, all Hive Tyrants are fearsome hulking monsters that tower over even a dreadnought. Like the other Tyrannids, they seem to mutate incredibly fast. Unlike the others, the Hive Tyrant evolves from a completely different type of genus, which covers their bodies with hard carapaces. Hive Tyrants are highly psychic, and their relationship to the hive mind is amongst the closest of any known bioform. Indeed, the synaptic link is so strong that they are primary conduits through which the hive mind enforces its dominance over a hive fleet's lesser creatures. The instinctive nature of a tyrannid swarm is smothered with implacable drive and purpose, and the need to hunt and devour is imbued with a cunning and tactical awareness that would put the galaxy's finest strategists to shame. Hive Tyrants were created not only to overpower their prey, but also to outthink it. Unlike many Tyrannid creatures, Hive Tyrants are incredibly intelligent, or even, to some extent, self-aware. Whilst they are still slaved to the gestalt consciousness of the hive mind, they are given wider latitude in achieving its goals. As such, they can respond to battlefield events far faster than the inscrutable hive mind and adapt the behavior of the swarms they command accordingly. As a result of their highly developed synaptic connection and greater levels of intelligence, Hive Tyrants are also able to manifest potent psychic powers by harnessing tiny slivers of the hive mind's terrifying will. Hive Tyrants can invigorate the swarm, shatter their foes' morale, or shred the minds of their prey. Hive Tyrants embody the Tyrannid hive mind completely, but their destruction does not in any way diminish it. Deletion is simply another learning experience that gives insight to the prey's strengths and weaknesses. This goes some way to explain why Tyrannids can rarely be defeated the same way twice. Should a Hive Tyrant be slain on the battlefield, the hive mind simply grows a replacement, imbuing it with the same knowledge as its predecessor. Fortunately for the rest of the galaxy, this does not lead to infallibility of purpose. Even the most fearsome Hive Tyrant cannot anticipate its prey's every ploy, nor can it oversee every quarter of the battlefield. However, the hive mind's capacity to regrow its fallen leaders does render each Hive Tyrant practically immortal. No matter how many times a Hive Tyrant is deleted, sooner or later it will always come back to overcome and devour its prey. Should the hive mind require it, Hive Tyrants can also be adapted to possess a pair of vast, leathery wings. Winged Hive Tyrants dominate the skies above the battlefield, swooping low to gut enemy commanders with the lash of their prehensile tails, or unleashing torrents of skin melting energy from the monster's biocannons. Yeah, it's just dancing around words here, so apologies. But while such organisms may lack the speed of a fighter aircraft, they are perfectly capable of smashing an unaware pilot out of the sky with their bladed hooves, sending burning fragments of his vessel raining onto the ground below. Some hive tyrants are seen carrying organism-like weapons, like that spit out large balls of bioplasma. Apart from their advanced long-range weapons, their red mist is also known to be extremely acidic. I guess that would be green mist, which they sometimes use as a type of weapon. When fighting up close, most of the hive tyrants use their claws and even lash-like weapons to smash away the enemies. Notable hive tyrants: the Nephilim King. This is going to be interesting in the biblical side of things here, but anyways, the creature known as the Nephilim King is a particularly notorious hive tyrant specimen. This beast leads a splinter fleet of high fleet behemoth and fights at the end of a group of synapse creatures and gigantic bio-titans. This so-called Court of the Nephilim King relies not on sheer numbers, but on the ferocity and intelligence of the most advanced tyrannid bioforms, forming a twisted mirror of knightly brotherhood. Countless foes have sought to slay the Nephilim King, but the monster has thus far turned the tables on all its would-be hunters, swiftly turning them from predator to prey. Alright, here's the weapons. The biomorphs. Got a heavy venom cannon. The heavy venom cannon is a large, heavy bioweapon that fires out salvos of deadly corrosive crystals. Most of its victims get deleted from the impact or from toxins carried by the poisonous crystalline fragments. The plating of some armored vehicles may also be punctured, with the splinters destroying the interior equipment and deleting the crew members inside. Stranglethorn Cannon. The Stranglethorn cannons are larger versions of the Tyrannid Barbed Strangler. This heavier version fires a larger, more aggressive seed pod. The tendrils grow at alarming rates, choking infantry. Sometimes the Stranglethorn Cannon will take out lightly armored vehicles by damaging the crew or weapons. The Bone Sword. Bone swords are blades of living chitin that wear away and grow back. They crackle with the psychic energy and are very effective against armored units. The Lash Whip. Lash Whips are lethal upgrades that can be added to a hive tyrant. They are long, deadly tentacles that have a mind of their own, and useful for engaging more than one enemy at once. Alright, so we're going to move to the biblical side of things here. And first, we're going to see how demons and the kingdom of darkness, would you say, is like, right? We get a picture of it here. So Mark 5:9. Now this is Jesus healing that guy with many demons, right? The legion. So Mark 5:9. And he asked him, "What is thy name?" And he answered, saying, pay attention to this part here. My name is Legion, right? For we are many. So this is a hive mind, right? This is the hive mind mentality right here, where there's no individuality, right? And now, I'm going to bring this up here. This is where the Nephilim come in. So if you don't know, the Nephilim are the demons. Now, Nephilim is an umbrella term, which means like tyrant or the fallen ones and stuff like that. And it basically covers like the hybrids. They're all hybrids. There's angel-human hybrids, which are the giants here that we're going to read. And I'll just read it here. So Genesis 6:4. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God, these are what you would call the watchers, and watchers are mentioned in the Bible, by the way, and these are angels, okay, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. Notice the distinction between the daughters of men and the sons of God, okay, and they took wives of all which they chose. Okay, we'll get to the good part here. So, verse 4. Oops. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Okay, what is the word used for giants here? We're going to see, we'll go down here, right here. This is the word Nephil, or transliteration Nephilim, or Nephil. So right here, Strong's Concordance, from Nephal. So let's see what Nephal means. Ready? To fall, to lie. Okay? So properly a feller or a bully or tyrant. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So that is what a Nephilim is. Now, we're coming to the locust, scorpion, human face, hair like women things, right? Now, a lot of people tell you, well, these are just helicopters. No, these are actual entities. There's actual ancient depictions of these guys if you want to go look it up. But, right here, did I? Well, this isn't it, the ancient depictions, but yeah, this is what they would, I guess, somewhat look like. Or may even be like something, where is it? Like this, something like this. Or even this. I mean, interesting, right? Okay, let's get into it. So Revelation 9, 7 through 10, or actually 11. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were the faces of men, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was the sound of chariots of many horses round about. So remember, the demons are a hive mind, so keep that in mind. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. Ready? And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek hath his name Apollyon. So this is the destroyer. We're going to see who the destroyer is. Okay. So this is this character, the Assyrian. And this guy is second in command. So you got Satan, then this guy, right? Remember last week how I talked about those 7 kings, right? Which, by the way, it even talks about the 8th, it says 5 are fallen and 1 must remain a short time, whatever. And then it talks about this 8th character, just like in the book of Enoch, where it talks about, after it talks about those 5, it talks about the son of the serpent. But anyways, I'm getting out of track here. So, O Syrian. So this is Isaiah 10:5. O Syrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. I will send them against a hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give them charge, to take spoil, to take prey, and tread them down like mire of the streets. Ready? Here's the key here. Howbeit that he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. In my opinion, this is the Bible identifying this character as the destroyer. Okay. For he saith, now pay attention to this part 2, are not my princes altogether kings? So he's got princes. He's got principalities under him. and all that. Okay. So Apollyon, right, is the destroyer. We have this guy here being identified as the destroyer. But we're going to go further. Okay. So here's Isaiah 14:25. Wait a minute. That's the Lucifer scripture, isn't it? Right? Okay. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread them underfoot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and the burden of off their shoulders. And again, let me go here. We're going to see that he is a seraphim. Okay, so we have, I break the Assyrian in my land, verse 25. Now, verse 29. Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a seraphim. Okay. So we got this guy who's in control of people and principalities and all that. Now, this is not Satan, though. Okay, this is second in command. Satan was the only one who fell, right? Okay. Ezekiel 31:3. Why, here's a question. Why hasn't the church even talked about this guy when he's in so many verses? Like you'll see right here. So, Isaiah 52, for thus saith the Lord God, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Okay? 30. And for that the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrian be beaten down, which smote with a rod. Okay? So why aren't they talking about it? Interesting. So we got that one. Ezekiel 31:3. Excuse me. Behold, now we're going to get a description of this guy. Okay. And notice as it calls him Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So in Lucifer, right? Lucifer, son of the morning. Well, Shahar is the god of the dawn in the Canaanite, right? Well, Ra is the sun god. Anyways. Okay. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches and with a shadowing shroud and of a high stature. So he's huge. And its top was among the thick boughs. And the waters made him great. The deep set him up on high with her rivers running about his plants. Remember that deep character I was telling you about? There she is. And by the way, go look up, where it says Genesis 1:2, where it says, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Go look up a picture of Hela, the Norse goddess. She's literally, half her face is dark. So, anyways. Therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field. And also the deep, and Hela and Nephilim has a well with rivers going out from it. So, anyways, I digress. Therefore his height was exalted above the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of the waters. There they are again. And when he shot forth, all the fowls of heaven made their nests in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young. So he's gathering all these things, right? Now pay attention to this part. And under his shadow dwelt all great nations. Now, he was in the Garden of Eden. Okay? Right here. The cedars of Lebanon, the cedars in the Garden of God could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches. For any tree in the Garden of God was like unto him in his beauty. Nor any tree, I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God envied him. So this isn't a man, okay? So therefore, thus saith the Lord God, because Thou hast lifted up thyself in height, and hath shot up in his top among the thick boughs, and his heart is lifted up on his height. I have therefore delivered him into the hand of the mighty one of the heathen. He shall surely deal with him. I have driven him out for his wickedness. And strangers, the terrible of the nations. Okay, Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what there is about that. So, okay. Micah 5:5. And this man shall be the peace, when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces. Then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. The battleless guy, right? So, I don't understand, right, why nobody talks about this character, right? And he's in control, of these locust things, and these armies of Nephilim. And they all are a hive mind. My goodness. Right? My name is Legion, for we are many. So, interesting. Now, it's not exactly like the Tyranids, per se, but it comes pretty close. So, and there's a bunch of verses there if you want to check out the Assyrian. You want to see who this guy is. So you can check all that out. Okay. Now we're getting back into some Warhammer 40k. So a Hive fleet is a large armada of living biomechanical starships created by the Tyranids for the purpose of gathering the raw materials and biomass necessary for the reproduction, evolution, and expansion of their species. A Hive fleet is used to attack and strip star systems of their biomass using the full range of Tyranid bioforms. Only 3 primary Tyranid Hive fleets and a host of smaller splinter fleets have ever come into direct contact with the Imperium of Man. They have all brought devastating and damage and loss of life. The Imperium Segmentum Ultima Command designated them as Hive Fleet Behemoth, Hive Fleet Kraken, and Hive Fleet Leviathan. And they made first contact with Imperial space in the eastern fringes of the galaxy in the Segmentum Ultima. Hive Fleet Behemoth arrived in the Milky Way galaxy in 745 in the 41st millennium. Hive Fleet Kraken in 993 in the 41st millennium. My goodness, I always have a hard time with years and all that. But anyways, and Hive Fleet Leviathan in 997 in the 41st millennium. Each Hive fleet is ultimately governed by a collective psychic hive mind of the Tyranid species, though at the heart of any Hive fleet are the Norn Queens, who interprets the will of the hive mind for other Tyranid organisms who personally birth almost every Tyranid bioform present in the fleet, save for its hive ships. The potent psychic power of every Hive fleet's connection to the hive mind produces an effect known as the shadow in the warp that prevents travel or communicate through the immaterium and the astrographic vicinity of the Hive fleet. Alright guys, there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I want to thank you, all my subscribers, everybody who watches the video, those who dislike it, like it, whatever. I appreciate you guys, every last one of you. And if you liked what you see, like I said, please consider leaving a like and subscription, as that what pushes the video out there. And again, thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful day.